Ma'am, turn off your vehicle. I need to see your identification.
I'm a nurse and I'm on my way to work at the hospital. What is this about?
Immigration and Customs Enforcement. I need to verify your status. Step out of the vehicle.
I'm American. I was born in Chicago. I'm going to be late for my...
Ma'am, exit the vehicle now or I'll have to remove you.
There are certain professionals whose absence creates immediate, measurable harm, nurses chief among them. When a registered nurse doesn't show up for a shift, patients wait longer for medication, vital signs go unchecked, call buttons go unanswered, and the entire care system strains under the gap. On the morning of September 23, 2025, Special Agent Keith Holland of IC decided that verifying the immigration status of a black woman in scrubs sitting in her Honda Accord was more important than allowing her to reach the intensive care unit where 6 critically ill patients were depending on her arrival. His body cam captured the entire encounter. A nurse in full hospital uniform with visible credentials, sitting in her car on her way to work, being detained without warrant, without probable cause, and without any legal justification beyond the agent's assumption that a black woman must be undocumented. What followed wasn't just a civil rights violation, it was active interference with medical care that put patients at risk and cost the federal government $3.2 million when the case settled in December 2025. September in Phoenix meant temperatures still climbing into the 90s by mid-morning, but at 6:47 a.m. the air was relatively cool at 78 degrees. The parking lot of a quick-trip gas station sat at the intersection of 2 major commuter routes, a place where people stopped for coffee and gas before heading to work. The morning shift at Phoenix General Hospital started at 7 a.m., and ICU nurse Simone Washington had timed her routine to arrive with 15 minutes to spare for handoff from night shift. Before we continue, where are you watching from? If this is your first time here, please hit that subscribe button. Stories like these need to be shared, and your support helps us bring more truth to light. Simone Washington was 34 years old, born at Northwestern Memorial Hospital in Chicago in 1991, raised on the South Side, graduated from the University of Illinois with her BSN, and had been working as an ICU nurse for 9 years, the last 3 at Phoenix General. She was good at her job, the kind of nurse who caught the subtle changes that meant a patient was declining before the monitors alarmed, who remembered which patient's daughter called every morning at 8 a.m. and made sure to have an update ready, who could start a difficult 4 on the first try and keep anxious family members calm during crisis situations. That Tuesday morning she was wearing navy blue scrubs with her hospital ID badge clipped to her chest. Her photo, her name, her credentials clearly visible. RN BSN CCRN. The lanyard said Phoenix General Hospital, in bold letters. She'd stopped at the Quick Trip to grab coffee because the hospital cafeteria coffee was terrible and she needed caffeine for a 12-hour shift in the ICU. Special Agent Keith Holland's body cam activated at 6:45 a.m. when he pulled into the same gas station parking lot. He'd been conducting what ICE calls targeted enforcement operations in the area, which in practice meant driving around looking for people who looked undocumented and stopping them to verify status. His body cam log for the previous week showed 14 stops, 11 of which ended with verification of legal status and release, meaning 79% of his stops were of people who had every right to be where they were, people he'd detained based on appearance and assumption rather than evidence. The body cam footage shows Holland sitting in his vehicle, scanning the parking lot. His attention focused on Simone's car as she walked out of the gas station with her coffee, wearing her scrubs, clearly heading to work. The body cam audio captures him on the radio. Possible target, black female, late 20s to mid-30s, alone, preparing to drive. I'm approaching. What target meant, what made Simone look like someone worth stopping, was never articulated beyond demographics and Holland's instinct. Simone got into her car, set her coffee in the cup holder, checked the time, 6:46 a.m., perfect timing, and started her engine. She was pulling on her seatbelt when Holland's vehicle pulled directly in front of hers, blocking her exit. His door opened and he walked to her driver's side window, badge already in hand. The body cam shows Simone's face through the window. Confusion, then concern, then the kind of weary frustration that comes from being a black woman who knows exactly why she's being approached. Holland tapped on her window. Simone rolled it down partway, her hospital ID clearly visible on her chest. Ma'am, turn off your vehicle. I need to see your identification. Simone kept both hands on the steering wheel, visible. I'm a nurse. I'm on my way to work at the hospital. What is this about? Immigration and Customs Enforcement. Holland held up his badge. I need to verify your status. Step out of the vehicle. I'm American. I was born in Chicago. I'm going to be late for my shift. She pointed to her ID badge. I'm an ICU nurse. I work at Phoenix General. I need to get to work. Ma'am, I need to verify your immigration status. Exit the vehicle now or I'll have to remove you. You can't just pull me over. I haven't done anything wrong. I'm wearing my hospital ID. You can see I'm a nurse. I work here. I'm American. And I'm going to be late. The body cam captured the standoff. Simone in her driver's seat, scrubs and hospital credentials visible, both hands on the wheel, maintaining calm but clearly distressed. Holland standing outside her window, hand near his weapon, demanding she exit the vehicle. Ma'am, this is your final warning. Exit the vehicle. On what legal basis? What probable cause do you have to detain me? I'm sitting in my car in my work uniform going to my job. What have I done that gives you the right to stop me? Holland's voice hardened. I don't need to explain my authority to you. Exit the vehicle or I will remove you. Simone made a decision. She pulled out her phone. I'm calling my supervisor at the hospital to let them know I'm being detained and will be late. Put the phone down. I'm calling my job. I'm not calling anyone else. I'm telling them I'm being stopped and will be late for my shift. Put down the phone or you'll be charged with obstruction. Obstruction of what? I'm sitting in my car making a phone call. You have no warrant. You have no probable cause. You're detaining me for being black in a parking lot. Holland reached for her door handle. Lock. He banged on the window. Open this door now. Simone's supervisor answered. The body cam audio captured her side of the call. Linda, it's Simone. I'm being detained by ICE in the QuickTrip parking lot on Thomas. I'm going to be late or might not make it at all. You need to call Float Pool for coverage. Yes, I'm fine, I'm in my car, he's outside demanding I get out but he has no warrant? I don't know. Okay. She ended the call and looked at Holland through the window. My supervisor is calling hospital administration and security. You're interfering with medical care. I have patients waiting. Open this door or I'm breaking the window. A QuickTrip employee had come outside, drawn by the commotion. A young man, probably early 20s, phone already out and recording. Hey, what's going on? She's just sitting in her car. Holland spun toward him. Sir, back away. This is federal law enforcement business. She's in scrubs. She's obviously a nurse. Why are you harassing her? Final warning. Back away or you'll be arrested for interference. The employee didn't back away but stopped approaching, kept recording. Within 2 minutes, 3 more people had gathered, all with phones out. The morning shift at the gas station, customers getting coffee, all watching, all recording. Simone sat in her driver's seat, hands still visible on the wheel, trying to remain calm while knowing that 6 ICU patients were about to start their day without their assigned nurse, that her absence would force her colleagues to take on extra patients, that someone might not get their medication on time or have their vital signs checked when they should because a federal agent had decided her appearance was suspicious. Holland pulled out his radio. The body cam captured his call. Need backup at QuickTrip on Thomas. Subject refusing to exit vehicle. Crowd forming. 5 minutes later, a second ICE vehicle arrived. 2 more agents, Agent Rachel Torres and Agent Vincent Hayes. The body cam shows them conferring with Holland, shows Torres glancing at Simone's visible hospital ID, shows her expression shift to something uncomfortable. Torres approached the window. Ma'am, I'm Agent Torres. Can we talk about this situation? I'm a nurse. I'm American. I'm late for work. Your colleague has been detaining me for 10 minutes without probable cause or warrant. I need to get to the hospital. I understand. We just need to verify. Verify what? My hospital ID is visible. My credentials are on my badge. I'm in full scrubs. You can call Phoenix General Hospital and they'll confirm I work there. You can run my license plate. You can do any number of things that don't involve illegally detaining me and making me late for patient care. Torres looked uncomfortable. Agent Holland believes there's reason to verify your immigration status. Based on what? What did I do? What probable cause does he have beyond the fact that I'm black and sitting in my car? Ma'am? I'm going to ask you directly, do you have a warrant with my name on it? No, but do you have probable cause to believe I've committed a crime? We're conducting immigration verification. That's not probable cause. That's racial profiling. I'm an American citizen on my way to work as an ICU nurse and you're making me late for patient care based on nothing except how I look. A spoke up. Ma'am, if you just cooperate, this will go much faster. Cooperate with an illegal detention? No. I know my rights. I don't have to exit my vehicle without probable cause. I don't have to show you anything beyond what you can already see. My hospital ID, my visible credentials, My scrubs that identify me as a medical professional on my way to work. The standoff continued. More people gathered. Someone had called local news. A camera van was pulling into the parking lot. Someone had posted the encounter on social media. It was already being shared with the caption, "ICE detaining nurse in full scrubs." At 7:03 a.m. Simone's phone rang. The hospital. She answered on speaker. "This is Simone." "Simone, it's Dr. Patterson from the ICU. Are you okay?" "Linda said you're being detained?" "I'm fine. I'm sitting in my car. An ICE agent is demanding I exit my vehicle without a warrant or probable cause. I'm being delayed from reaching my patients." Dr. Patterson's voice went sharp. "Put him on the phone." Simone held the phone toward the window. "The ICU attending physician wants to speak with you." Torres took the phone. The body cam captured her side. "This is Agent Torres with ICE. Yes. We're conducting immigration status verification." "I understand, but..." "She's refused to comply with?" "No, we don't have a warrant specifically for her, but..." "Doctor, we have authority to..." "I understand the patient care implications, but..." Torres handed the phone back through the window. Simone took it, and Dr. Patterson's voice was clearly audible on speaker. "Simone, hospital administration is sending legal counsel and security. Do not exit your vehicle. Remain calm. We're handling this." At 7:15 a.m., 28 minutes after Holland first approached, a vehicle from Phoenix General Hospital security arrived, followed shortly by a woman in a business suit who identified herself as the hospital's legal counsel, attorney Jennifer Morrison. Morrison approached the agents with her business card and her phone. "I'm legal counsel for Phoenix General Hospital. That woman is our employee. She is a registered nurse with an active Arizona nursing license. She is a U.S. citizen. She is on her way to provide critical care to ICU patients. What is your legal basis for this detention?" Holland started to respond, but Morrison cut him off. "I'm not asking you to tell me. I'm asking you to tell the U.S. Attorney's Office for the District of Arizona, who I have on the line right now and who would like to understand why ICE is interfering with the provision of medical care without a warrant or probable cause." She held out her phone. The voice on the other end was official, clipped. "This is Assistant U.S. Attorney Michael Chen. Who am I speaking with?" Holland took the phone reluctantly. The body cam captured his side. "This is Special Agent Keith Holland. We're conducting immigration verification." The subject refused to exit her vehicle. "I had reasonable suspicion. Based on my training and experience." Whatever Chen said in response wasn't audible on the body cam, but Holland's expression shifted from defensive to something closer to trapped. The call lasted 90 seconds. When it ended, Holland handed the phone back to Morrison without meeting her eyes. Torres spoke quietly to Holland. "The body cam audio is faint but audible. We need to let her go. We have nothing. She's clearly American, clearly a nurse, and we've created a public incident with media present." Holland's jaw worked. "Finally, ma'am, you're free to go." Simone looked at him through the window. "That's it? 30 minutes of illegal detention and I'm just free to go? You're not being charged with anything. You can leave. I want your names and badge numbers. All three of you." Morrison was already writing them down, also documenting the incident on her phone's voice recorder. "Ms. Washington, you should go to work. We're handling this from the hospital's end. You'll be hearing from us." Simone started her car, hands shaking slightly now that the adrenaline was wearing off, and drove to the hospital. She arrived at 7:23 a.m., 38 minutes late, to find the ICU in controlled chaos. Her patients distributed among other nurses who were now each managing more patients than was safe, medications running late, one patient's family member upset that no one had been available to answer questions. She worked her 12-hour shift. She took care of her patients. She did her job. But afterward she couldn't stop shaking. The violation of being detained while sitting in her car, in her work uniform, on her way to care for critically ill patients, because an ICE agent had decided she looked like she might be undocumented. Should federal agents who conduct stops without probable cause face immediate suspension, or should the current system of delayed disciplinary action continue? Comment below, because what happened to Simone Washington wasn't a split-second decision in a dangerous situation. It was a 28-minute detention of a healthcare professional in full uniform, captured on body cam with no legal justification. The lawsuit was filed on October 7, 2025, in the District of Arizona. Hospital legal counsel connected Simone with a civil rights attorney named Marcus Feldman who specialized in unlawful detention cases. The legal claims were filed as constitutional violations under a Bivens action against Holland, Torres, and Hayes personally for Fourth Amendment violations, related federal tort claims under the Federal Tort Claims Act against ICE as an agency, interference with the provision of medical care, and intentional infliction of emotional distress. The damages sought, $3.2 million. $1.2 million in compensatory damages for the detention, the violation of Simone's civil rights, lost wages, and ongoing psychological impact. $2 million in punitive damages designed to punish the agents and deter future similar conduct. The body cam footage made the case straightforward. Holland's own camera documented Simone in full hospital scrubs with visible credentials. Simone clearly stating she was American and late for work. No articulable probable cause beyond Holland's instinct. Simone remaining calm and asserting her rights throughout. Simone calling her supervisor to arrange patient coverage. Multiple witnesses recording. Nearly 30 minutes of detention without warrant or legal justification. Release only after hospital legal counsel and U.S. attorney intervention. Depositions in November revealed the pattern. Holland had made 67 immigration verification stops in the previous 3 months. Of those 67, 52 were of people who were verified as legal residents or citizens, a 78% rate of stopping people who had every legal right to be where they were. His training and experience that he cited as justification was revealed to be demographic profiling, stopping people of color in areas he deemed high immigration. Internal IC emails obtained through discovery showed that Holland had been counseled twice in the previous year for conducting stops without adequate justification. His supervisor had noted in one performance review, Agent Holland needs to improve articulation of probable cause. Several recent stops have resulted in complaints about profiling. Despite this documented pattern, he'd faced no meaningful discipline and had continued the same conduct. The emails also revealed something more troubling. Holland had a quota mindset. In one message to a colleague he'd written, "Need to get my numbers up this month. Going to hit the usual spots tomorrow AM." Immigration enforcement doesn't have formal quotas, but Holland treated it like one, prioritizing volume of stops over quality of enforcement. When Feldman asked Holland in his deposition what about Simone's appearance suggested undocumented status, Holland couldn't articulate anything beyond "she was alone, early morning, appeared nervous when I approached. She appeared nervous when a federal agent blocked her car and demanded she exit while she was on her way to work? Yes. Did you see her hospital ID badge? I saw she was wearing scrubs. Did you see the hospital credentials on her badge? I saw some kind of badge. Feldman held up a photo taken from the body cam footage, zoomed in on Simone's ID. This badge. With her photo, her name, Phoenix General Hospital, and her credentials RN, BSN, CCRN. You're telling me you saw this and didn't consider it relevant? People can fake badges. So your position is that Ms. Washington might have been impersonating a nurse? Wearing fake scrubs, a fake hospital ID, carrying a coffee at 6:47 a.m., all as part of some elaborate scheme. I couldn't verify it without checking. Did you consider that a woman in full medical scrubs with a hospital ID might actually be a nurse on her way to work? I couldn't verify that without checking her status. Did you run her license plate before approaching? Silence. The question requires a verbal answer for the record, Agent Holland. Did you run her license plate? No. Did you call Phoenix General Hospital to verify she worked there? No. Did you ask to see her nursing license, which she could have shown you through the window? No. Did you ask to see her driver's license to confirm her identity? She refused to exit the vehicle. She was under no legal obligation to exit the vehicle without probable cause. My question is whether you asked for identification that could be provided through the window, which you could then verify through databases. Did you? No. So you detained a woman for 28 minutes, making her late for patient care, without taking any of the simple verification steps that would have confirmed everything she was telling you? I was following my training. Your training tells you to ignore visible hospital credentials and detain nurses on their way to work? No answer. Feldman pressed further. Agent Holland, in your 12 years with ICE, how many nurses in full hospital uniforms have you detained? I don't recall the exact number. More than 5. Possibly. More than 10. I'd have to check records. And of those nurses you detained while they were in scrubs on their way to work, how many were actually undocumented? Boss. I don't recall any. So your pattern is to detain healthcare professionals in medical uniforms, delay them from reaching patients, and consistently find they're exactly who they say they are, legal workers on their way to provide care? I'm doing my job. Your job is to conduct immigration enforcement with probable cause and constitutional compliance. Does detaining citizens in medical uniforms without cause fall within that job description? Holland's attorney objected, but the damage was done. The deposition record showed an agent with a pattern of baseless stops, documented prior warnings, a quota mentality, and 0 successful detentions of healthcare workers despite repeatedly targeting them. The hospital submitted documentation of the impact. 6 ICU patients went without their assigned nurse for 38 minutes. Medications were delayed. One patient's family filed a complaint about inadequate attention during morning rounds. The hospital had to pay overtime to float pool nurses to cover the gap. The disruption to care was documented, measured, and presented as evidence of real-world harm from Holland's actions. Simone's therapist testified about the psychological impact, the hypervigilance, the anxiety about driving to work, the intrusive memories of sitting in her car being threatened while patients waited for her. Ms. Washington is a healthcare professional dedicated to saving lives. Being detained while trying to get to work to care for critically ill patients created a specific kind of trauma. Knowing her absence was causing harm to vulnerable people and being powerless to prevent it. The settlement came in December 2025. ICE's attorneys recognized the exposure. The body cam was clear. The hospital had documented patient impact. The media attention had been negative. The U.S. Attorney's Office had already contacted ICE about the incident. Fighting would mean prolonged bad publicity about agents detaining nurses on their way to save lives. Settlement, $3.2 million as requested. $1.2 million compensatory, $2 million punitive. Agreed to in December, paid before year-end, all in 2025. Holland was suspended for 1 month without pay and required to complete remedial training on constitutional policing and probable cause standards. Torres and Hayes, who had shown some hesitation and hadn't initiated the stop, received written reprimands. All 3 remained employed by IC. Phoenix General Hospital updated its protocols to include immediate legal intervention for any employee detained by law enforcement on their way to or from work. The nursing union pushed for state legislation protecting healthcare workers from immigration enforcement during work-related travel. Simone used part of the settlement to establish a legal defense fund for healthcare workers who face discrimination or unlawful detention. She continued working as an ICU nurse, though she changed her route to work to avoid that quick trip. Couldn't bring herself to stop there again. The body cam footage sits in federal court records. Not as evidence of a dangerous situation requiring split-second decisions, but as documentation of a healthcare professional being detained in her scrubs, with visible credentials, on her way to care for critically ill patients, based on nothing except an agent's assumption that she looked like she didn't belong. September 23, 2025, started as a routine Tuesday morning commute. Coffee stop, drive to hospital, 12-hour shift caring for ICU patients. It ended with a federal civil rights lawsuit that documented what happens when enforcement priorities override common sense, when visible evidence is ignored in favor of assumptions, and when the interference with medical care is considered acceptable collateral damage in immigration enforcement. The settlement was finalized December 18, 2025. Simone received her payment December 27, 2025. All within the same year. And somewhere in Phoenix, ICU nurses continue driving to work in their scrubs, hoping that visible credentials and professional uniforms will be enough to prove they belong exactly where they are. Though Simone's case proved that sometimes they're not. If you believe healthcare workers should be protected from enforcement actions that interfere with patient care, and that visible professional credentials should prevent unlawful detention, subscribe for more documented cases of systems failing the people they're supposed to serve.